Hello, this is Greg Smith from GoSIgnMeUp, and I'm pleased to present to you our second video blogcast. All of these blogcasts are designed to provide you best practice solutions for your online class registration software. If you recall, the first blogcast focused on efficient and customizable ways to provide class search functions. Today's focus will be with the online registration form as well as the checkout process. In the case of the checkout process, it's important that the entire experience be very quick and easy with few mouse clicks and lots of clarity in terms of where you are in the checkout process itself. So let's go ahead and get started here.
Let's start out by looking at the Create Account options here in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see it says Create Account. So you click that, and that takes you into the area where one would create an account. At some point, one does need to create an account in order to sign up for a class. Obviously, you want to respond to them via email, so you do need to collect that data. As you see here, you've got several fields here. You get to choose how many and what fields that you would use, such as there are standard fields like city, state, zip. You've got custom fields that you can create from scratch. You can make a field required. You can make it optional. You can utilize different masks or styles of fields, such as a drop-down field, as you see here. Go to the lower right-hand side, you can see that you've got a date field that you can have in there, even radio button fields, text fields. So there's a lot of different styles or masks that you can place in there. Additionally, you can put the fields in these various boxes or widgets. As you can see, we have 3 of them up there, but you can always deploy more fields or more widgets, boxes, or less. That's up to you. And so collecting the right data is a very critical area that we'll discuss here in just a second. Also, you can have a registration policy or a terms conditions that can be added or not.
Some folks choose to use just a minimal number of account registration fields, and the advantage of that is that it helps to streamline the registration process, and if there's no need to collect all the data, then that's certainly an efficient way to do it. Some folks like to collect a lot of registration fields, as that will help you to expand and elaborate on your back-end reporting and analytics, depending upon the data that you want to collect and the information that you want to analyze. So you certainly have the flexibility and customization to be able to provide whatever information that's important to you. Now we're going to focus on the checkout process, and what's really important about the checkout process is that you try to get through the checkout procedure with as few mouse clicks as possible, as well as a lot of clarity in terms of where you are in the checkout process. So let's take a look at what we've got here.
So here we are again at the public site interface, and just to review, this is where your potential students or clients will go to search, sign up, and if you're doing e-commerce, pay for the classes. First thing one would do normally is to log in either their existing account or create a new account. I should point out that this process can happen either when they come into the site, or it can happen when they're checking out after they sign up for the class. So it brings us into My Account area. Now you can bypass this and go directly into signing up for classes as your default, but in any event, the student can click on My Account and it brings them to this page, which has got some very useful information, such as on the left-hand side, you can see student account information that can be edited or changed. But on the right side, I want to pay attention to this grid, course grid, that shows the classes that I'm currently enrolled in, which is where we are now. And I can always go in here and delete out of a class. Now you can turn that off so they cannot delete out of a class, or you can set it up so they can only delete themselves X number of days before the start of the class, as you would determine. I can also see classes that I'm on the waiting list, but I'm going to jump over to the transcripted classes, which are the classes that they've completed successfully, therefore they get credit, however you determine that or define that. The way that one gets transcripted, and by the way, you can change the terminology of transcripted to something else, but the way that one gets transcripted is either the instructor or an administrator of the system goes into the class roster and simply puts a check mark by each person that has completed the class successfully. Now, students can then come in and have the autonomy of seeing their completion of classes or transcript. You can set up just a date filter here. Let's go back to September of 14 to the current date, and let's see what the results bring us. Shows us those classes, and then one can go in and click print, and it prints out a real nice looking transcript. Now, the transcript can include grade, final grade, credit, or attendance, or not. And of course, the logo up there would be your branding, not ours. And so the other thing that happens automatically when one is transcripted is GoSIgnMeUp will send out their certificate of completion with everything filled out automatically. All those digital signatures, everything. It shows up as a PDF. You can always print those out, of course, normally, but it gives you that option as well. And of course, it's going to show up, the transcript is going to show up in all kinds of student and class history reporting analytics that we'll get to in a later blog. But now let's actually sign up for a class. And this is something that our user experience team spent a lot of time developing, because our goal was to make the checkout process very short, in other words, few mouse clicks, and very clear in terms of where you are in the process. And I think we've done a pretty good job with that. Before we actually sign up for a class, you'll see on the right side, it shows me, since I'm logged in, classes I'm already enrolled in. So to sign up for a class, you simply click register. Now, we could do one of two things. We could sign up for additional classes or check out. You can check out either by clicking the green button or the familiar shopping cart icon, where you can also empty the cart. So we're going to count the number of mouse clicks that it takes to check out. So I click the green button, and it takes us to the checkout area. We talk about clarity. Where are we in the process? At the very top, it gives you a really clear roadmap where we are, where we're headed. We use what's called a diagonal interface because research shows that folks follow web pages normally from upper left to lower right. So you see in the upper left, it shows us where we are, where we're headed. As we go down that diagonal, you can review the order. If you're charging for the order, it shows you the price there. We also do no charge classes, and therefore it'd skip the payment step there. But as you move to the lower right-hand corner, what do we do next? Proceed to payment. There's our second mouse click. We're now on the payment screen. We can tie into various credit card gateways if you want to do credit card payments online. And look at this, even additional types of payments if you want to offer those. And of course, you can define those as your needs determine. So we'll just do a check for right now. So at the payment screen up there, where next is the final order, we're in the lower right-hand corner. Place the order now. We click that button. We are now registered in the class. We've just received an email confirming that we are indeed in the class. That can have specific messaging for that class or those classes are signed up for. It can include up to 5 attachments that would be such as a PDF file that would be related to the class itself or classes. It can include a pre-class survey where one clicks a link and one would then take the survey. And also it can include a VCS file where one would click the link and it puts the dates and times in their calendar. There's also up to 2 email reminders that go out however many days you determine for the start of the class. So as you can see, 3 mouse clicks were there. Now, if it were a free class, it would skip that payment option or the payment stage, and it would only be 2 mouse clicks. You can see how clear this is and how quick and easy that it is for the checkout process.
So I hope you found that very useful. Next week, we're going to give you another edition of this where we're going to focus a little bit more on some of the administrative functions and ways that it can actually save you time and make it much more efficient for you. So thanks again for sharing your time, and we'll see you next week. If you'd like to learn more by reaching out to me directly, here is my contact information. We also have a free professional development book of best practices that you can download here.